What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here with my AEW All-In 2024 predictions video. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. So before I give you guys my predictions for AEW All In, just want to let you guys know that tomorrow for the event, I will be doing a live watch along here on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. So if you're looking to interact with me and hang out, I'll be watching AEW All In, doing a watch along with Ricky Knows Best tomorrow. But in this video, I'm going to give you guys my predictions, and I just don't pick winners. I love to talk about the feud leading up to the match. I like to talk about full predictions. I want to go more in depth about the matches that I'm talking about. Just want to put that disclaimer out. So, here's how we always do it. Let's talk about the build-up for All In this year. I will say, as an AEW viewer, me personally, I enjoyed the build-up this year. I think it wasn't the worst, but I do think last year was a lot better than this year's All-In card. But I do think that the build-ups, the storylines have been pretty good for the most part, especially the women matches for the TBS and the Women's World title. I'm very excited for those. MJF, Will Ospreay, they have been probably the highlight of AEW All in my opinion. And especially with how unpredictable the Swerve versus Danielson match is going to be, it really does have me excited for this card. And I do think that this does have the potential of being a pay-per-view of the year. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I do think the build-up could have been a little better. It did lose some momentum at times, but overall, it wasn't the worst AEW build-up. The storylines are slowly getting better, but we need AEW to consistently give us good television every week and continue to build their own stars and continue to build storylines to get fans invested in these great dream matches that we get during these pay-per-views. So, with that being said, let's get into the matches for AEW All In 2024 Wembley Stadium in London. Starting things off, we have a pre-show match. It's going to be a mixed tag match. Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway versus Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii. I know I totally botched his name. This one I'm really not looking forward to. I think it definitely should have been Willow versus Chris, in my opinion. Let them just steal the show like they always do. But this one I'm not really excited about, which is probably why it's like a part of the pre-show here. And I definitely think that Willow and Ishii are going to win because there's no way Stokely is going to be able to beat Ishii. Alright, that's what it's all going to come down to. And it's unfortunate because I was so excited that Chris Statlander turned heel, and I thought AEW was going to do more with her, but they're not doing anything with her. And I feel like having Stokely, that is like the perfect pairing. So I don't understand why we're doing a mixed tag match. We should be getting a match with Chris Statlander and Willow and maybe add a stipulation in there because of how the rivalry has been going so far to get people more invested. But I do think that Willow and Ishii are going to win. Moving on now to our next match on the card, probably the one that I'm the most excited about, the AEW American Championship. MJF will be defending his title against Will Ospreay, and I think that these two are going to absolutely have the match of the night. I know Ricky Knows Best and myself, we're really looking forward to this. I'm an MJF guy, he's a Will Ospreay guy, so it's going to be a really fun match. They absolutely killed it in their 1 hour bout on AEW Dynamite, which, by the way, my boy MJF got the victory. But this time around, I am going to have to go with Will Ospreay. I don't see him losing in London against MJF. He's not going to lose to MJF twice. definitely not going to happen. But I will not complain if MJF actually wins, because there are some scenarios that I am thinking about that could happen in this match. One of them being Don Callis could help MJF beat Will Ospreay, basically turning on Kyle Fletcher in the process of doing that, because we've seen for the last couple of months, Don Callis wants to move on from Will Ospreay, and I could see Callis pretty much aligning himself with MJF to generate more heat. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad if MJF continues to have this run. I'm enjoying this whole American character. I know there's other people that aren't enjoying it. I am really enjoying what MJF is doing right now. And I think adding Don Callis to him could really make him one of the best heels in AEW right now and really have the fans fully turn on him. But I do think that it's going to be a great match. Daniel Garcia, he's another guy that can come in and help Will Ospreay beat MJF. If they did re-sign him, which, my opinion, I don't see that scenario happening. I do think Garcia will go to NXT with Ricky Starks, and they're going to show up in the first episode on the CW. But honestly, this is going to be probably match of the night, in my opinion, and I have Will Ospreay winning his championship back. Moving on now to our next match on the card, we have a Casino Gauntlet for a future shot at the AEW World Championship. It's going to be a bunch of jabronis and Hangman Adam Page, and we already know where this is going to go. I think Hangman is going to win, and he's going to earn his shot for the AEW World Championship that he is obsessed with. Very, very predictable. But I do think that Ricochet will be in this match. I think he will make his AEW debut in this gauntlet, which I think I personally wouldn't do that. I would have him show up, like, just have him show up or, like, set him up in the crowd or do something, a video package. That's what I would have done instead of putting him in the casino, but I could see them doing that because a lot of the times they like to have debuts happen in the Casino Battle Royals. So I do have Hangman Adam Page winning. It'll probably be him and Ricochet, final two. Moving on now to our next match on the card, we have the AEW Women's Championship match. Toni Storm will be defending her title against Mariah May, and let me just say, this has been one of the best storylines for AEW All In. I think that they've done a great job building some stock in Mariah May. I think having her with Toni Storm all this time was a great way to get her onto AEW television consistently, and now she is going to be one of the top heels in the AEW women's division. And let me just say, the improvements in the AEW women's division in 2024 have been tremendous. And I think a lot of it really has to do with the signings of Mariah May, Mercedes Moné, Deonna Purrazzo, and then seeing the returns of Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and I think Jamie Hayter, she's going to be coming back soon. The AEW women's division is looking really, really good. And the storylines are also really, really good, I think. And I gotta give my flowers to Britt Baker, Mercedes Moné. I gotta give my flowers to Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May. And also, I do have to give my flowers to Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa, who have been feuding on AEW Collision, and a lot of people don't know that because they don't watch Collision. But I've been really enjoying their matches, and I highly recommend going on the AEW YouTube page and watching them, because the feud has been great between Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. But getting back into this match, I'm really looking forward to this. The storyline has been incredible. My opinion, Timeless Toni Storm right now is the best character in all of women's wrestling, and I'm really enjoying this a lot. This is going to be a great match, and I hope that this isn't the last match that we're going to get with them. Maybe we can get another match at All Out with the stipulation to really further the storyline, but I do see Timeless Toni Storm retaining her championship. I don't think the run is over yet, and me personally, I would have them have another match at All Out, and then that's where Mariah May should win the championship. But I do have Timeless Toni Storm retaining her belt. Moving on now to our next match on the card for AEW All In. We have a coffin match for the AEW TNT Championship. The Scapegoat, Jack Perry, will be defending his title against Darby Allin. This is another storyline that I have been really invested in on AEW Dynamite television. The Scapegoat character for Jack Perry has been perfect. 10 out of 10. And man, he is absolutely killing it. He's in such a better position at this year's All In than he was last year holding the FTW championship. And I know a lot of people are upset that CM Punk is not in AEW anymore, but man, Jack Perry with this whole situation, he really set himself up for more success in his run, because let's be honest, last year at AEW All In 2023, he was just lost in the shuffle. This Hollywood Jack character just wasn't working at all, and just something was missing. And man, after what happened backstage with the fight between him and CM Punk, honestly, out of everybody, yes, it didn't benefit AEW as a company, but it 100% benefited Jack Perry. The man literally got everybody's attention, and instead of just folding under the pressure, Jack Perry, he strived under the pressure. And going to New Japan and doing the whole scapegoat thing, brilliant idea, getting people talking all online, and then with this new elite, having him be with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson and Okada, I think it's the perfect fit. And this feud with him and Darby Allin, man, has been fantastic. And I think that these two definitely have the potential of being a match of the night. All these matches on the card have a potential of being that. That's just how AEW pay-per-views be. And that's one thing that you cannot deny, is that AEW pay-per-views, they fucking deliver. But I do see Jack Perry beating Darby Allin here, because, man, his TNT Championship run just started at Forbidden Door, and I just don't see Jack Perry losing the championship anytime soon. He's on a great run, and he customized his championship belt, which I think is one of the coolest things he did, and I feel like he's going to be holding this championship for quite a while, because I do see him and Adam Copeland down the line having a feud. That's going to be really good. But I do see Jack Perry winning, and this is going to be a hardcore match, and I cannot wait to see what Darby Allin's going to do. But moving on now to our next match here, we have the last chance match for the FTW Championship. Chris Jericho be defending his title against Hook. And man, I am sick of seeing Hook going after the FTW Championship. I want to see him go after the International title. I want to see him go after the Continental, maybe even the TNT belt. I feel like him going after the FTW title is just a reoccurring thing. And like, is the FTW title a legitimate belt? I will say, Jericho's learning tree, like, it's alright at times, but man, Jericho could really benefit taking a break from AEW like Jon Moxley's doing right now. I think Jericho has just been on TV consistently for way too long. He does a fantastic job at reinventing himself, which is why he is one of the greatest of all time in professional wrestling, but Jericho just needs a break from AEW TV. I think it could really benefit him, and that's one thing with WWE, with Jericho. They always made him larger than life. They've always made him matter. And Jericho, when you overexpose him, you're really just, his stock is just going down, I feel like, every single month. The learning tree stuff is funny at times, but Jericho just needs a break, in my honest opinion. But I do see Hook beating Jericho, because this is the last chance he can win the belt. And I don't see Hook losing to Jericho again. This feud, for me, has just been so, like, nauseous. Like, I'm just over it at this point. And I hope Jericho takes a break after Hook wins the title. I'm just over this whole Jericho thing. And I want AEW to actually start pushing Hook. And I feel like when Samoa Joe comes back, we should be having Hook and Samoa Joe as a tag team, because right now the AEW tag division, I'm going to be getting into that in just a moment. But I feel like Hook is just not really benefiting anything competing for the FTW title. But this match, I'm not really looking forward to, but Hook, he will win, and Jericho will put him over. That is one thing that Jericho does do good with, is putting over homegrown talent. Moving on now to our next match on the card. It is for the AEW TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné will be defending her belt against Britt Baker. And let me just say this might be one of the greatest women's matches of all time in AEW. I am really looking forward to seeing this match because when Mercedes Moné signed, the one person I was thinking about was Britt Baker. I feel like these two are very similar when it comes to in-ring style. And I will say, the storyline leading up to All In, at first it was red hot, then it lost a lot of momentum, and then it picked right back up with the Go Home episode of AEW Dynamite. And this match, I think, is going to be one of the greatest women matches in AEW, and I'm really excited to see what these two can do, and I feel like Britt Baker could really bring out the best in Mercedes. I think that, I will say, one of my bold predictions here, Jamie Hayter will return and help Britt Baker. Because Camille, she'll be right by Mercedes Moné's side, and I feel like she's going to interfere throughout the match, and I think Jamie Hayter's going to get a massive pop in the UK and help Britt Baker kind of clear, pretty much clear house, and then I do feel like Britt Baker, this one, oh my goodness, I keep going back and forth, I can't make a decision who's going to win this, because anything can happen here. But I feel like Mercedes Moné, she just won the championship not that long ago, and I feel like beating Britt Baker could add more credibility to her title run. But at the same time, Britt Baker just came back, and I can't see her losing right away. So this one, I'm really tossing back and forth. If Jamie Hayter clears house, referee gets distracted, Mercedes Moné will hit. Ooh, damn. Will she do that, though? Yeah, she'll hit her with the New Japan Strong title, and Mercedes Moné will steal the win, and then I feel like these two will rematch at some point, but I'm going to have to go with Mercedes Moné. I don't think she's losing the title just yet. But moving on now to our next match on the card, we have a 4-way ladder match for the AEW World's Trios Championships. The Patriarch, Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne versus the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn versus the House of Black, Malachi, Brody, and Buddy Matthews versus Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club, which is Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. Honestly, this is going to be a really fun match. I cannot wait to see what happens here. And honestly, I could see all four of these trio teams winning it in this match at some point. I feel like the House of Black, they have been just always a great trios in AEW. The Bang Bang Gang, they just lost their trio belts because of Jay White's injury, so I could see them holding the belts. Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club, I feel like that would be really cool. But man, the Patriarch has been so good, and I feel like I have so many people retaining the titles. So in this case, I think the Bang Bang Gang's going to win. I think Juice Robinson, Austin, and Colton, they're going to win the trio championships. I think they're going to pull the upset, and it's going to be really freaking cool. So, and I really hope after this, House of Black, we can finally get Malachi some single matches, and also Christian Cage. I want him to get back in the title picture somehow, some way. Maybe if Will Ospreay actually does win the International Championship back, I wouldn't mind a feud with him and Christian Cage. I feel like that could be really freaking good. But I'm going to have to go with the Bang Bang Gang. I feel like they make the most sense here to win the trio titles. But I wouldn't be mad if the House of Black win or I wouldn't even be mad if anybody wins this. I just want a really fun ladder match. But moving on now to our next match here on the card, we have a 3-way tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks will be defending their titles against the Acclaimed versus FTR. And these are 3 of the very best tag teams in AEW, and that's literally it. I am so disappointed with how much stock the tag team division has lost in AEW, because a couple years ago, AEW's tag team division was one of the most elite in all of professional wrestling, and I feel like AEW, we really need to start pushing new tag teams. Let's give Private Party, Butcher, and Blade opportunities. We need to solidify more tag teams in the division. I feel like Ring of Honor has a better tag team division right now than AEW. And they're supposed to be like your B show. Technically, well, not even the B show. They're supposed to be like the D or E show. with all the freaking shows that AEW has. I really want the tag teams to come back to once, like, what they were before. I miss the way it was. But I do have a bold prediction here. I think Max Caster is going to turn on Anthony Bowens in this match. I feel like we are going to be getting a heel Platinum Max pretty soon, and I think it's going to happen at All In. I think nobody's talking about it. I think it's going to happen. I just feel like the Acclaim, they just ran their course already, and the momentum is just gone. And it just seems like the more and more time goes by, it seems like Max Caster is just starting to come off more as a heel, which I feel like could really work, him and Bowens, but they don't need to break him up yet, but I do see it happening in this match. FTR and the Young Bucks, man, they're going to absolutely tear the house down, and I feel like the Young Bucks are going to win, but with the predictions here, I am going to go with FTR because I feel like FTR could really benefit having the championships again. They were a great tag team when they had the belts, and especially with AEW not having enough solid tag teams in their division in 2024, FTR I think could bring out the best in teams like Top Flight and teams like Private Party. I think FTR could definitely be better tag team champions than the Young Bucks are right now. The Young Bucks haven't even really been defending the titles. So I definitely think that FTR, they're going to pull the upset and they're going to win the belts. So now let's get into our main event for AEW All In for the AEW World Championship title versus career. Swerve Strickland will be defending his belt against Bryan Danielson. And this one, this is such an unpredictable match because there's just so many scenarios with the World Championship. Darby Allin, he won this friggin' Royal Rampage match, which gives him a title shot. We have the Casino Battle Royal that's going to be happening earlier in the night, which Hangman Adam Page, in my opinion, is set to win that. So there you go. You have Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve, which could happen. Bryan Danielson, he said that he wanted to retire as a full-time competitor. He didn't say he wanted to retire full-time. So that's like where it makes it very unpredictable here. And I feel like this is Bryan Danielson's moment. It just feels right that he should win the championship. And the whole Swerve thing is just really throwing me off here, which is why, like, with the feud, I didn't really enjoy the build-up for this main event for All In. Because Swerve, like, he was a heel at first. And then we started to kind of get away from the heel act, and he started to become a babyface because he was over with the crowd. And now, in this feud with Bryan Danielson, he's talking about, like, ending his freaking life in front of his kids. That's a heel, like, God. Like, I don't know what Swerve is trying to do, and I'm a big fan of Swerve, but, like, when somebody is, like, in the middle where, like, they're acting like a face one week, and then the next week they're acting like a heel, I can't get behind that. And the go-home episode, Bryan Danielson really convinced me, and that's why I think I'm going to have to go with Bryan Danielson winning the AEW World Championship. I don't think it's going to be a long run for him, but I do think Tony Khan wants to reward him and give him that moment that he deserves. Because one thing Bryan Danielson has done throughout this AEW run is give. Putting guys like MJF over and just pretty much being a company man. And I feel like Tony Khan really sees that. And we've even saw reports out friggin' months ago about Tony Khan saying if something, God forbid, ever happened to him, he would want Bryan Danielson to take over AEW. And that is a huge, bold statement to say. I feel like Tony Khan really wants to give Bryan Danielson that defining moment. And it just seems like the perfect time. Title versus career. And with Danielson teasing retirement, it does make the match very unpredictable because we really don't know where Danielson stands until we find out what happens in this main event, which is going to make things interesting. But then there's the rumor about Swerve versus Hangman, which could also happen at AEW All Out, because if Hangman does win the Battle Royal, then pretty much you have him versus Swerve, which I thought should have been the main event for AEW All In personally because of the rivalry they've had. but I could see that happening as well, because I feel like Swerve versus Hangman with no championship on the line makes absolute no sense. Because Hangman has made it clear that he wants that AEW World Championship, but he also wants to get revenge on Swerve Strickland for the whole suspension thing. So this is where, like, it's just all over the place. And then there was reports about Darby Allin getting an AEW World title run pretty soon, because AEW wants to give him that. So, like, Bryan Danielson giving up the title to Dart, like, it's just crazy. And I love that, because I love when, like, a pay-per-view or a Premier Live event can be unpredictable. And in this case, this is absolutely unpredictable here. But I do think that Bryan Danielson will get the moment, and I'm leaning towards that. So we're getting a new AEW World Champion. Bryan Danielson will not be retiring. So there you have it. Those are my predictions for AEW All In. And I won't be surprised either if Shane McMahon shows up. I think that would be insane if they did something there, but I don't see it happening. But let me know in the comment section below your predictions for AEW All In Wembley 2024. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. We'll be doing a live watch along tomorrow afternoon for AEW All In. So if you're looking for somebody to watch this, the biggest pay-per-view of the year for AEW with, we'll be live and I will be chatting with you guys. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me over on my social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over.